what do I want my day to look like? What do I want my life to look like? Because that's going to inform how you're going to work your business. That's going to inform who you're going to hire to help you with your business.
Hey everybody, it's your host, Amber here, MLM strategist and entrepreneur who has worked with thousands of network marketers and influencers and entrepreneurs in your space, helping to brand them, systemize them, and grow their downline on a global level. Creative director with AK Social House and your host of the Behind Her Boom podcast, providing you with proven, simple, and actionable steps to build your authority and your brand so you can stand out from those sideline sisters, inspiring you with our special guest to think big and grow to 7 figures and beyond. Let's go. Hey everybody, it's Amber, your host of Behind Her Boom podcast, and I have Danielle McCleerey on here with me today. I am super excited because she is a little bit different than the typical leader in the network marketing space that we usually have on here. And I wanted to bring her on because she touches on a completely different topic, but that is so relatable for new entrepreneurs, network marketing space, whether you're in that or not, whether you're a coach, because she's really talking about the human design, trauma healing. She gets into meditation, wealth energetics, the law of attraction. So we're really tapping in on our inner body. She calls it almost like the sexy business using your intuition and human design. So I really want to tap into this. Thank you so much, Danielle, for joining us today. Just share a little bit about, I know you sent your bio over, but I would love for you to share a little bit about your story and how you got into this. Before I do that, though, I do want to mention she is a multiple six-figure earner and a top-rated podcast with almost 250,000 downloads, which is incredible. And she has multiple courses and master classes that you can link up with and things like that. So we'll get into the contact and how you can connect with Danielle a little bit later. But thank you so much, Danielle, for joining me today.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for the warm welcome. I always think like every time I'm on a show, I'm like, wow, these people make me sound so good. I just need to like call you every time I need like a boost.
Need a little powwow. Yeah. Just give me an intro.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it with my bio. I mean, the thing that I really love about what you're doing is how you said most of your audience is in the network marketing space. And I don't know if you knew this, but like I have been a top leader in a network marketing company before. That's actually how I got started, was as a top leader in network marketing. And that was kind of my training wheels for entrepreneurship. So I love that space and I have a lot of respect for network marketing as an industry. When I started with the network marketing company that I was with, I mean, I went from like 0 to the top of the company in, I think it was like 11 months. It was so fast.
So you know exactly what that whole industry is like and how that feels. And that's what led me to my entrepreneur path as well, was getting my feet wet in that space.
It's amazing. And yeah. I think the best part about it is, I mean, it is just that, right? Like network marketing it's entrepreneurship with training wheels.
Absolutely. Yeah. And free coaching and mindset and a group of, community that's going to help you along the way. I'm a completely different person when I started network marketing to where I am now versus being in corporate world. And I almost feel like women, whether you want to do it financially or not, do it for the self-development aspect. Like you'll be a completely different person.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree. And I mean, even before that, so I actually started building like the Danielle on the Daily brand about 12 years ago.
Wow.
So, and this was when I was still working in corporate fitness. So I was a SoulCycle instructor for 10 years. I became like head of West Coast training and development. I trained a bunch of new instructors, but so much of like being a fitness instructor for a company like that is brand building because, you have to get people in your room. You have to get people on, butts on bikes. That's how you get paid. So I literally decided when I started working for them, I was like, I'm going to build this brand. I'm going to build a brand that people know, that people like, that people trust. And I'm here to help as many people as I can live their best life. And so I'll do that in a lot of different ways, but we're going to start building this brand. So it's so interesting because so many people will see my business or they'll see my success and they'll be like, wow, that really happened quickly. And yes, when I finally locked in on what it was I really was here to do, yes, my business took off, but that's because I spent so long building the brand beforehand. So Yeah, I started building the On the Daily brand about 12 years ago. And I would say about 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to branch away from network marketing and I was going to really dive into personal coaching and business coaching and life coaching. And I dove into human design. I dove into wealth energetics. I dove into Reiki. I healed so much trauma. My dad died 2 years ago. And like that sent me on this whole like, I
I've
feel like
seen
it was
that. That was you said my dad, but my best friend. So
yeah.
that's hard. Yeah.
I mean, my dad and I were like, my dad's like my soulmate. Like we are so close. And, um, when he died, it kind of sparked this realization inside of me that I had this addiction, and I'm sure so many people, if you're listening to this, I'm so sure so many people can relate to this. I had an addiction to hustle. I had an addiction to struggle. Like, and it was not struggle in the, I was not, I used to think I didn't have trauma because I didn't come from poverty or I didn't come from nothing. I actually my dad was a CFO of Disney. Like I came from a lot of money, but that caused its own slew of, I have to be the best. I have to perform. I have to do something with myself. I have to,
It's like a whole different level,
my
right?
whole life. Right.
Trying to
You
lead
get
up
it.
to that. Yep. Trying to meet up to those, that level of what their expectations are. And it's a completely different ballgame in
Oh
that
yeah.
sense.
Oh
What
yeah.
about your family when it came to making this shift? Did you get that support? I know with network marketers, it's always like a spousal thing, or am I getting the support? They don't really tap into it until they start seeing some paychecks come along. For you to get into that space and then to just kind of meet that tippy top of the comp plan and say, I'm leaving, I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to dive into this brand. Did you have the support along the way to help you?
Yeah, I've always had a lot of support. I mean, I'm the black sheep. There's some beauty to being the black sheep of your family. Like I got married when I was 20. I moved to London when I was 20. I lived there for 4 years. Like I've just always been the kid that's like, I'm doing my own thing. Y'all just trust me. And so I think when I was like, I'm going to start this network marketing thing, my family was like, okay. Sure. And my dad is a businessman. So he really got it. He was like, oh, I think like you have the network, you've built the brand. Like, I think this is a great opportunity for you. And then when I decided that I was going to go off on my own, he actually died right before I officially launched my coaching business. So
He's watching.
oh, I know.
every
He
step.
totally is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he totally is. But yeah, I mean, he never got to see it in person, but I know he'd be stoked because he's always told me like, honey, like you should be on stages, you should be doing stuff. So I think trusting myself enough to do it on my own.
I think that's the biggest part. When you join a network marketing company, yes, you're your own entrepreneur, your own business, but you still have that brand behind you. So, whether you focus on, building up yourself, I think about, 70-80% of network marketers, they just lead with that brand until they make that shift to say, you're not the brand, you're not the product, you're not that face behind the product. If somebody wants to join your business or buy your products, they want to join for you. Like, set yourself apart. And that's what I focus on a lot too with the leaders that I speak with. It's branding and building that brand first, because what sets you apart from somebody else? It's such a big world out there and on social media, and everybody's scrolling and everybody's trying to get a little piece of that 5-second attention. And if you don't have your personal brand and your authority and everything else down pat, and you're providing value and you're showing up and and you're having that that face and conversation that people can relate to, it makes it really hard. Nobody's going to just go buy your flash sale.
Well, and I think that's why when I started a coaching business, like it wasn't a hard transition because I've never like, first of all, network marketing was never going to be my mountaintop. I think I knew that from the beginning. It was always going to be a step toward whatever it is. I mean, I don't even know if like my coaching business is the top of the mountain for me, but it's like just moving closer to that. But when I decided to make that shift, my network that I had built wasn't phased by it because I had never attached my identity was never wrapped up in the brand that I represented. Like I am the brand, Danielle is the brand, and Danielle will do a lot of different things. And as long as you know, like, and trust Danielle and the On the Daily brand, then it doesn't really matter what she does. And so I think that I think that's like a huge piece, because the thing about, the one, I would say, like, the one caveat to network marketing is, like you said, you are a part of a brand and it's the vehicle, but ultimately, like, someone else is technically driving your car, and you're not a full entrepreneur, right? Like, entrepreneur is the person who starts the brand. You get entrepreneurial training, you get entrepreneurial roles, but to be a full entrepreneur, it really is like that jump. It's like, the metaphor I always use is, I had been up in the plane to skydive a lot, and I had been right there. And then it's like, when I finally decided to launch my coaching firm, it was like, I jumped out of the plane. Like, I was like, we're going. Like,
we're going for it. It's yeah. I totally feel that. I felt that over and over again when I've launched. I've launched the Pink Vault. It was content strategies for network marketers. Anytime that you go to launch a new course, launch a masterclass, launch a new product or service, it's like literally like you're jumping off a cliff. But
totally.
if you've got testimonials and you've got backup and you've got people that stand behind what you, like you said, building that like, know, and trust behind your brand, it just makes it so much more doable, and you can reach success so much faster
Totally.
by doing that. And I think a lot on this topic, it's great that we can really relate, because we're both in network marketing and kind of talking to that audience. And I really feel that what you offer and what you've been trained in and what you do can really relate to these network marketers, whether they're brand spanking new, coming into that role of, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to run my own business. I want to do my own thing. What kind of guidance can we give them to say, hey, before you get caught up in all of that, let's take a step back and let's talk about your own belief. What do you believe that you're capable of doing? You see these people that are earning $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month, not a year, a month. Do you personally really, really feel that you have the ability to do that? Or are you, letting yourself have that limiting belief? So this is a lot of what your program kind of taps into as well, right?
Yeah. I build everything. Like, the biggest thing I coach on is building a brand, building a business around your life context. So when I was building in network marketing, I was still very much attached to my old programming, and I hadn't healed. And so this like need to be the best, this need to perform. I mean, that's why I moved as fast as I did. And I don't know where, like, I survived on like energy drinks and like fudge, and I don't really know where my kid was. And when I hit the wall of burnout, like a year after my dad died, because Amber, it's crazy. Even after my dad died, I was like, I have all the tools. I know how to get through this. I'm going to be fine. And I just like kept moving. And it wasn't until about a year after he died that I hit that wall of burnout. And I always used to think that burnout was like a destination. But it's not. Burnout is a symptom of a root cause, which is living a life that we're not aligned with. And so when I was building my coaching business, I was like, I'm going to build this 100% around my life context. Right. And my life context is, does this give me more or less freedom? And I am unrecognizable from who I was when I was really hustling in network marketing, because I am now unavailable for anything that is not mutually beneficial.
Right.
And I say no more than I say yes. And that was never the case when I've built.
Such a great feeling though, to be at that level
Yeah. But I think the difference was I built from that place this time. So that's why I've built such a sustainable business that does do $50,000 monthly recurring revenue. Like, that's just MRR, right? Like, that's not even including anything else that I add in every month, but it's because I've built it around my life context. And so I think the biggest piece, if you're in network marketing, if you're not in network marketing, like whatever industry you're in, it's decide, what is my life context? What do I want my day to look like? What do I want my life to look like? Because that's going to inform how you're going to work your business. That's going to inform who you're going to hire to help you with your business, right? And I think, especially, and I know the only reason we keep going back to network marketing, because I know so many of your listeners are network marketers, but if you're in network marketing and you're listening to this, like, you do not have to be available 24/7 to build a successful network marketing business. You do not have to follow everything your mentor does just because it worked for them. Like none of that has to happen regardless of what you're told. And you can run it like a true entrepreneurial venture. It's not like it, and the beauty of it is you still have like the umbrella to like keep you safe, right? Like you can hire assistants, you can hire VAs, you can hire copywriters, you can implement automation into your business, you can implement funnels, you can figure out your human design and work from a place of true alignment and abundance and like what actually brings you joy, you know? And I think that this is the way that business is shifting in general. You know, we're not trying to stay in boxes anymore. And so much of what I teach is really, let's figure out your life context. Let's figure out how you operate. Let's figure out what makes you happy and build a brand from that.
I love that, Danielle, because it's so true. I see it even in family members. I mean, my sister's a multiple seven-figure earner in network marketing space as well. But I remember when she was first starting out in her business, and I don't think she's seen the first 2 years of her second kid's life because I think they've seen her forehead. You know, it was just and it was in that full grind hustle mode. You know, I think her marriage was on the rocks. I mean, there were so many things happening to get to that point. But it is true. You follow along who those leaders are. What are they doing? What's working for them? And then you get in that hustle and grind mode to get to that next level. And we always say, you know, they're dangling, like if it's the car, you know, they kind of like dangle that little, you know, diamond or whatever that you're trying to catch. When reality is you can build that business to a certain level of income that you need to go buy whatever hell car you want. It doesn't need to be the car that they provide. They're just covering your lease payment, you know, but it's all about really truly building the life that you desire and that you want. And we talk a lot in our business about, you know, the passive marketing strategies, which is kind of what you tapped into, rather than that active, you know, I got to get on my stories, get live, DMing people, messaging, you know, yes, you need to do that. You need to be present 100%. But at the same time, there's so many things. If you think for a second, those leaders that are making multiple seven figures don't have something, you know, going passively in the back end, don't have systems in places and processes in places to hustle their business and to grow and scale, especially when you launch into new countries. And, you know, they're not hopping on planes and trying to meet people in coffee shops. They have systems in place. And I think a lot of people in the network marketing space we wouldn't even think like that. They would just say, I got a business in a box. I'm going to learn it, you know, check out the dashboard, see what the company is offering me, follow the comp plan. What do I need to do to hit the next rank? When in fact, it's like, look what you need to do. And you're so right. Like get a VA. If you suck at content, hire somebody to do that for you, you know, and invest in your business. Even if you invested, I don't know, $10,000 in your network marketing business, that sounds like a lot of money into something that you just paid $100 for, or maybe you got it for free. But what would you pay to like launch a real business or to buy a franchise? You know what I mean? I pay 50 grand just to launch a $27 offer.
Right. I mean, I just paid my coach $60,000. Like my mentor, I paid her $60,000 for the year. That's not including the like how much I pay my VA team every month. That's not including how much I pay my production team every month. That's not including how much I pay my, you know, OBM or my ops manager.
But that $60,000 mentor, like what is she pouring or he pouring back into you to allow you to just come out and scale and grow and flourish in your business?
Right.
We all need it. It's just different levels.
Right.
You know, once you reach different levels of your business, it's different levels of investment.
Right.
Even, you know, $1 million earners in not network marketing, but just in entrepreneurs in general. Even then, they still have their own different levels of what they need for their coaching. I don't care if you've made, you know, $10 million in revenue in a year. They're being coached, they're being guided, they're being influenced to help them along the way. Otherwise, you reach that burnout and you kind of just hit that plateau of, I don't know where to go from here.
Well, and I think we could totally change. I mean, for a long time, I was going to be the one to change the network marketing industry. That was going to be like my thing. And then I realized I actually had no interest in doing that. Like very quickly switched directions. But I was like,
tell me, I might be interested.
Yeah. I was like, we got to stop telling people like, oh, it's only $49. Like, yes, that may be to like start a business, but like, if you're really trying to grow a business, I don't care what business, network marketing or not, like you better be prepared to invest in your business. Like, and the fact that we're telling like that it's actually being told by some leaders, like, oh, you don't need to do that. Like they are,
Yeah,
They are.
exactly. They're, if they've got 100,000 followers or 20,000 followers and they're showing up every day and their reels and their content is on point and their lighting and their everything, they have invested. They didn't just go on Amazon and get a ring light and call it a day. They have invested in, like you said, the production and all of it and everything. If you click on a link in their bio, it's taking you to something to drop your email. They've got a lead magnet. If you're going to a website, they're branded. There's so many different avenues. And then you get these network marketers. And this is what I really focus on, is the women and the people that come into network marketing space. I don't care if they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, but they come in with a couple hundred followers and they're doing what their leaders are saying. I'm posting every day, I'm trying to engage, and it's not happening for me. And those are the people that I really want to like change their life. Like, get a system in place, brand yourself. You're not the face behind your shampoo or your wellness product. Let's really set you apart. Who's your avatar? You mentioned about losing your dad. It's something that is relatable for people if they lost a family member or a loved one, or, if somebody dealt with addiction, or somebody dealt with, a loss of, the fertility. I was an IVF, mom couldn't have kids, and went through that. And that was my avatar, my audience, of just speaking to those women that can relate. And I think that's really huge. And then investing in yourself to really showcase, give yourself authority. You don't
and
even
build yourself an email list,
and
because
build yourself an email list.
the client list you have on your network marketing team is not your email list. And if you leave the company, that list does not come with you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that list is not always so supportive if you decide to make a shift or do something. A lot of those can get very, tight.
Well, they were with you for that reason.
For that reason, yes.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
Like they were part of that. And so, yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole other episode on
that,
how I would change the network marketing industry. Love Danielle, but that's not what
we're here for. I mean, maybe episode number 2. What can you give a little piece of advice or elaborate on if somebody is new in this space and they've never meditated before? They've never got in touch with themselves. The law of attraction is not something that everybody's heard of.
I would say if you are brand new to like the energetics side of business, because I think entrepreneurship exists in 4 pillars. Right. One is innovation, one is strategy, one is leadership, and one is energetics. Like I think those are the 4 pillars of entrepreneurship. And I would say if energetics is something that you haven't tapped into, then you're probably stuck in a lot of loops. Maybe they're money belief loops. Maybe they're, and what I mean by loop is if you're the person who like will make a lot of money, it feels really good for a while, and then all of a sudden you freak out, you spend all the money, and then you end up broke again, and then you do it again, and that's your pattern. There's probably like some money story going on that's not very healthy, and that money story could have started in childhood. It could have started generationally. It could have started, I believe in past lives. It could have been a past life trauma, like whatever it is. There are things that we carry. We can carry up to 13 generations of trauma in our DNA. So if you think about a good example I like to use is my friends in the Jewish community, right? If you're in the Jewish community, you think about generationally what was happening in your lineage, right? Generationally, if you were yourself, if you spoke up for who you are, if you led powerfully with your, personal power, you would literally be killed for it. So that belief has now stuck in Jewish lineage. And so today we have a lot of, I have a lot of clients who are of Jewish lineage, and they have a hard time putting themselves out there, and they don't understand why they can't just go for it. And they don't understand why they have this failure to launch. And I'm like, you got to get in touch with your trauma. You got to get to know your trauma. The only people with trauma are not the ones that are just like, that grew up poor. Like that's not a thing. Yeah. Everyone has trauma, and we need to stop like stigmatizing it as like this thing that's only for a certain group of people. Right. We all have stories that we've carried with us from childhood, from our parents, from their parents, from their parents. And so The first thing I tell everyone to do if you're like new to this world of like really understanding why you are the way you are is read the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe
Yeah.
Dispenza.
Okay. Say that again. I'm going to put it in the notes.
Yeah, it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and it's by Joe Dispenza. And that book changed my life. Like basically what that book taught me was our subconscious mind, right? We have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of your daily actions and thoughts. 95%. So that means that most of the day we are on autopilot.
Right.
And that includes our limiting beliefs. And we have this thing that separates the conscious from the subconscious mind called the reticular activating system, the RAS. The RAS is basically like the gatekeeper for what stays in conscious mind, what goes into subconscious mind. And so this is the way I can describe the RAS is, have you ever wanted a car really bad? And then every car you see is that car?
Yes.
Because the RAS is going to show you more of what you're thinking about most. And on the other side of that, which we don't like to think about, if I have believed my whole life that money is the root of all evil, or if my parents have instilled in me that in order to make a lot of money, I'm going to have to hustle to the point of burnout and illness, then my RAS, at every chance it gets, it's going to show me proof of that.
Right.
So I'm going to get sick if I work hard. I am going to lose money and I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to self-sabotage. I'm going to do all these things. And all that means is that your subconscious mind is running the show, is driving the car. And oftentimes our subconscious mind is connected to our ego. And our ego only knows scarcity. It only knows lack. It only knows where we've been. And it's not a bad thing. Its job is to protect us. Like that's the literal job of the ego. So we hear people be like, just kill your ego, like put your ego to sleep. First of all, that's probably the ego saying that because the ego is super self-sabotaging. But ultimately, your ego doesn't know where you're going. So that's when I say, like, when we talk about tapping into your intuition, when we talk about tapping into your highest self, God, source, universe, whatever you call it, what we really mean is, can you follow that voice that says, like, you're meant for this, you are made for more, you can break free of the matrix of your generational traumas and patterns and loops and, you know, whatever it is, the stories that have been created. And every time you do that in baby steps, your ego goes, okay. Like I always think of my ego as a 6-year-old child. Like my son is 7 and I think of him when he was 6, like that kid, do not change his routine. Do not tell him you're going to do something and then do something else. And so if we think of our ego and our subconscious mind as a 6-year-old child who is so afraid of change,
Yeah.
it's okay to be like, hey, like get it. This is like meditation. Like literally meditation is literally like getting in touch with yourself and saying, I know you're scared. I know what we're doing is really big and it's really bold, and building a brand from the ground up is a really terrifying thing, and putting yourself out there and facing possible rejection is a really scary thing, but we're going to do it. And we're going to do it together because we know that we are made for more. We can feel it in our body, and it's time that we let that version of ourselves drive, not the version of ourselves that wants us to stay here in this box that we've kept ourselves in for way too long.
This is incredible, Danielle, because I think that's what so many people lack, so many entrepreneurs. Luckily, while you were talking, I could mute myself. I was hoping that the speaker was muting too, because I was having a choking fit. But I completely agree with this, is tapping into your inner self. And, you know, even my husband and I, when we get up in the morning, we decided to, you know, get up 30 minutes before the kids. And so it doesn't always happen that way, but we tell our kids, if you wake up, go and, you know, watch TV or do something quietly. This is our time. And it's to meditate, and it's to, you know, give thanks and to say affirmations, and to try to break a sweat in those 30 minutes too. But it doesn't always happen that long. We need 90 minutes more like it, but at least to start the morning off with that, with giving thanks and that meditation phase. I know my husband alone, I mean, he went and did a silent meditation retreat in Thailand, and he stayed for almost 3 months, and he came back a completely different person. And for somebody who's never meditated before, they don't understand the power of what that can do to somebody, but absolutely incredible and could be life-changing. So even if you just tap into those, just 10 minutes a day of, giving yourself that self-love. I used to teach to my team when I was in network marketing about setting your alarm with positive affirmations 3 to 4 times throughout the day. Your alarm goes off, you're forced to go and shut it off. And when you go to shut it off, you read that affirmation, I'm grateful, or I can do this, I'm loved, and, that sort of thing. It makes a difference. Maybe you're having a kind of a pissy mood and all of a sudden it just puts a smile on your face, when you go to turn that alarm off. So.
Well, and what's even better, I mean, affirmations are great. And I think affirmations are great. And I think for a lot of people, they don't work because a lot of times people are saying affirmations that are not actually coming from their own limiting beliefs. Like anyone can go stand in the mirror and be like, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich, I am that, like anybody can do that.
Right.
But unless your affirmations are actually coming from like a limiting belief that you have, then nothing's going to happen. But to your point, like, yeah, I mean, setting time aside, like I have a journal. I have not always been a journaler, but ever since I've started my journaling practice, like, and it may not be first thing in the morning. Like I'm not the person I used to think I was, the person that was going to wake up before my son. It's just not who I am. And it's not my life context. So what I've decided to do instead is I push all my calls until after 11 a.m. I don't get on the phone before 11 a.m. I drop my son off at school. I have 3 hours to do my meditation, to journal, to do the things that I need to do without feeling that like pressure of like having to get up early. This is what works for me. And this is what I say about like life context, but
designing the life that you love.
Yeah. Totally. And so I'll give you an example. So one of my affirmations was that, one of my affirmations is I release the need to be needed. And where that came from was I believed for a really long time that in order to be successful and make money, I had to be available, I had to be accessible, I had to be like on 24/7, right. Which came from childhood, seeing, having a successful dad that would always say like, we got to hustle, being burnt out all the time, working his butt off all the time, being straight A student, being captain of the dance team, being valedictorian of high school. It was just this constant thing that was like put into me at a very young age. And the truth was I don't have to be available all the time. And actually, I am more successful when I say no, because when I say no, I protect my peace. And if I'm at peace and I can follow my joy and I only say yes to things that are a full body yes, and I no longer say yes to things that are maybe or no, which again, that practice alone will change your life. If it's not a full body yes, it's a no. So once I realize the truth, now I can go, okay, so what's the affirmation or what's the creation statement from that limiting belief? And it's, I release the need to be needed. And like when I implemented that, I went from working like 60 hours a week to I don't work more than 12 now.
That's amazing. And I can't agree. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still, 40, 50.
Yeah. But like, see that's just part of it, right? Like, it's just one of those things where it's not going to happen overnight, but when you can implement these things and when you can stick to it, it's all about personal power.
Yeah.
Like, that's another big thing I coach on. Like I have programs for all of these things, but it's like one of my programs is called The Reckoning. And it's literally about teaching people how to stand in their power, about how to take their power back, because we give our power away to everything all the time. And
absolutely. Even like leaders in the network marketing space, that they're always available to their downline, they're
martyrs.
Yeah. And I tell them, you need to not be available, book a group session once a week, let them come in and have their questions prepared at that time. And that's your hour that you're giving back, rather than, hopping in on a call every single day for an hour or two and letting them just talk your ear off. How do you
set a Calendly? Set a Calendly and have 3 hours a day, Tuesday and Thursday, that you are available for calls that your team can book with you.
Yeah.
And they're 30 minutes long, and you don't just come and it's not a therapy session. It's a coaching session. You're going to ask questions. I'm going to help you. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to coach you. And then you're going to go build your business. Because also what I wish a lot of leaders would understand, and this is not just in the network marketing space, but I would say it's definitely true for most people in the network marketing space, is they do that and they hustle. Law of attraction says what we project out is what we're attracting back to us. So if you're not standing in your personal power and setting boundaries in your own life and in your own brand and in your own business, if you're not setting boundaries and you're not standing in your power, who do you think you're attracting into your business? You're attracting people who need everything from you.
Yes. Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good.
No, No, because then you'll never get a break because it'll be so exhausting, and you'll burn yourself out, and you'll reach a certain level, and you'll get a bonus, and it's like dips, the highs and lows. You'll hit a peak and wow, I got a trip, and then you're back down to an ultimate low, and it's not sustainable that
Totally.
way.
I
Whereas
will
if you're,
never, yeah, I'll never run my business in like this, like launch to dip. Like I will, my dog is howling. I will
exhausted.
never run my business in that way ever again, because again, that just perpetuated that limiting belief of like hustle, 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 hustle.
Yeah.
Right. So breaking up with that limiting belief, breaking up with that like story.
Oh yeah, I
I'm gonna
hear
get the dog out of my room. Hold on.
That's okay.
But she's a husky. She's like, hi, I want
Hi,
to
that was
get
a
out of this
howl
room now.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, breaking up with that belief meant that now I need to start attracting new people. I'm attracting a new person into my business. I'm attracting a new client. I'm attracting a new business partner, right? Like, but if we don't address these things within ourselves, then we keep attracting what we don't want. And then the Raz is going to be like, see, this is why we didn't want to do this. This is why we should just burn it all down.
Probably
and
could
that's how we get
quit
stuck
while you're here now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. I really like about, if it's not a full body yes, then it's a no. I think I'm just going to start implementing, because you take those like 50%, we'll give it a shot. You do that all the time. Think of how exhausting that is if you.
Well, and then we all have maybe. And then our whole plate is maybe. And if our whole plate is maybe, then we're actually not calling in the things that we actually want. And universe, God, source, whoever you pray to, only gives you what you can handle. And so if you are so spread thin with maybe, guess what? You're not going to get the things that you want. So yeah, I mean, if it's not a full body yes, it's a no. And of course this goes into context, right? So I always have to say this because there's people that'll be like, well, I don't like cleaning, so I'm never cleaning again. And I'm like, okay, I hate cleaning as well. Like I'd rather eat glass than clean. However, the bigger full body yes for me is that my office and my space is calm and peaceful and clean. So I now obviously am at a point in my business where like my housekeeper comes once a week. Like that's just where we're at. And I love that. Too. And my lifestyle affords that.
Yes.
If your
even if my lifestyle didn't afford that, I would still need that in my life because it's a game changer.
Totally. But if like your lifestyle does not afford that and that's not where you want to invest your money right now, well, then you might have to clean. But think about the bigger full body yes. What I mean is like, if it's not a full body yes to take on one more client or to do calls after 8 p.m., right? This was a thing, like, and this is big in the network marketing space. People want to schedule big team calls at 8 p.m. and because they want everybody on every time zone to be a part of it. It's like, if that is not a full body yes to you, guess what you're doing? You're showing up to that call. Your energy sucks. So you're putting crappy energy out into the call anyway. It's not a better space because you're in it. It's now draining you. It's going to pull the energy from the room. And so if it's not a full body yes to show up to calls at 8 p.m., either change the time of the call or watch the recording when you're feeling good about being there. It's not going to change your business. It's not going to make you fail. If anything, it's going to make you more successful because you're honoring your boundaries.
Yeah. And you're going to show up when you're 100% ready to show up. Or that you want to show up. Yeah.
Right. Like I decided, so a big thing that I recently implemented is I used to have weekly scheduled calls with my private clients. So I have low to mid to high ticket ways to work with me. I have like a low ticket masterclass society, which is like all my masterclasses in a subscription. I have 3 signature programs that are kind of lower ticket. I have a higher ticket mastermind that is, with an option to VIP personal, like get some private coaching as well. And then I have my private clients. So for my private clients, I used to have 1 hour a week scheduled Zoom time.
Right.
Well, I realized pretty quickly, I was like, I don't want to be on scheduled Zooms every week. Like I want to be able to go and get a massage in the middle of the day. And like, that's my life context. And so I recently kind of restructured and I started to make calls as needed. You have to schedule them at least a week in advance and they're 30 minutes long. And guess what that did? The fear there for people is like, oh, well, if I do that, then they're going to think I don't care. They're going to think that I'm not committed. But no, what that did is it put me more into creative flow. So now I can actually like create better content. I can record better podcast interviews. I can get my brand out there to more people, and I can be better for my clients. And B, it empowers them to figure shit out for themselves.
Yeah. Come to you prepared with questions or whatnot and just think, oh, it's a power hour. Let's just hang out and see what Danielle can pour into me
Yeah.
versus I got 30 minutes with Danielle. Like, what can I get out of her? What do I need? I think it's just much more effective that way too.
Right. It was a
Yeah.
full body, like that was a full body yes. And like,
Yeah.
because I followed the full body yes, like my business like grew immediately. It almost grew.
Yeah. I love that, Danielle. Thank you so much for tapping in. I think our conversations just really shed some light, whether you are in the network marketing space or you're just in the entrepreneurial, space in general. It really kind of comes down to your self-limiting belief, what you personally makes you happy, allowing for yourself to say yes or no to things. And where can people find you? Where can they connect with you? Share a little bit of that, and I will share it in the comments as well.
Yeah. So best way is to come to my Instagram. I'm Danielle _ on the daily. From my Instagram, you can find my podcast, which is called On the Daily. You can find my website, which has all of my courses, all the ways to work with me. But I would say come to my Instagram first. And, I also have because I have 3 signature programs and I have a mastermind and I have all these different ways, it can be kind of confusing to figure out what works best for people. So we actually have on my homepage for my website, we have a quiz you can fill out that kind of will point you in the right direction.
The right direction of what you need. I like that.
Yeah, but my DMs are always open, and
at least come and say hi. I mean, she's, pouring all kinds of value in here and, taking your time. And obviously we were a full body yes to come on the show. So I appreciate that, Danielle.
Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys. Make sure you reach out to Danielle _ on the daily on social media. And we appreciate you. And until next time, guys, this is your host on Behind Her Boom podcast. We will see you on the next show.
Bye.
Oh my God, the coughing spell. And then tears were coming down my eyes. And I was like, oh my God.
I've been there, girl. We were just in the desert in California at Stagecoach, and I feel like my eyes were swollen the whole time. I'm like, what is happening?
What's going on, right? Where are you from? Where do you live, Danielle?
I'm originally from Los Angeles.
Okay.
We moved to Austin, Texas last year, though. So we built a house here and
saving on taxes, and I'm jealous. We moved to California 3 years ago. So and then built all the business up here. And people are saying, why did you register your business in California? Go register it in, Florida or Vegas. I'm saying, but I want the Beverly Hills, zip code on there.
Yeah. My business was in Los Angeles. And then this year we moved it to Texas, and I'm already saving so much money. And I actually just launched another business called Hype You and Hype You Media. It's like a podcast network.
Right. I was seeing a little bit about that of Hype You.
Yeah. And so that is registered in Delaware.
Okay.
I've never been to Delaware.
Yeah. So we'll need to make a shift with that, with our accounting team. And it's kind of irrelevant when you're just, hitting, certain levels. But once you get into 7 figures, multiple 6 figures, it's thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh. It was literally like my accounting team after we were doing pretty consistent, 50K, she's like,
you need to
figure this out. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
I was going to ask you, do you guys do coaching too?
So we offer I own AK Social House. So it's a social media agency that does full branding, funnels, websites, email marketing, follow-up systems, social media. But we also have a media team who'll launch your podcast, go out and shoot your content if you're local in California, set that up, and then take that content and chop it up and create micro content. Cool. So the micro content side of things is pretty big for us with B2B businesses. Yeah. The business essentially was built on building brands for network marketers and building them a system, so our hybrid system is like our staple, where we build a website, tied it into email marketing and help them, launch a successful ad campaign and drive traffic that way. Yeah.
I don't think I was with Arbonne, and network marketers just don't understand that they can do all the, they can they can fully automate their
Their
business.
entire business. Arbonne, Mary Kay are probably, and Rodan and Fields are probably like the three least ones to actually want to do something out of the norm, especially Mary Kay, like don't even talk to them. But Modere, because they do have a social selling program, they will get systems from us and launch their business, and they will run webinars on the back end, and they're just crushing it. Monate's been the same. My sister had started with Monate, and I was with Monate. So it just, that was kind of our, first 2 years of the business was a lot of Monate market partners. And now it's, Q Sciences, and Saint and Savvy are really into it as well, because all of their branding is so on point and it's so beautiful. So, and they're active and they look great. So creating systems for them and branding themselves, it just makes sense.
It's
So
just crazy.
yeah.
I mean, to watch, like I've just said to Arbonne, that was one of the biggest reasons I was like, I got to do something else, because I kept trying to implement like automation. I kept trying to implement social media training and like all these things. And like, I did a whole call series for my success line where I like brought in like social media coaches and I brought in trauma coaches, and like, I got so much pushback from like upper leaders. And I'm like, oh no, like, we're just not speaking the same language. Like, I got to go.
No, everything's a big no. Is it compliant? Is it,
Oh, and I left because they gave me the ultimatum. They literally were like, it's your coaching. It was like, once my coaching business got too big. And then what happened was, I never took like, if an Arbonne person came to me, but they had like, I have Arbonne people that would come to me and like, they'd have an Airbnb business. Like I have a whole legal team now, and like, they make them sign all the documents that say like, you're not being coached on Arbonne. Like, this is just for your Airbnb business. So like FTC compliance, I'm covered. Right.
Yeah.
But it was, Arbonne had a problem with it. And I'm like, you actually don't think I'm being non-compliant. What y'all have an issue with is these people are coming to me for their other business, and I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah.
And so they are doing really well. And then they stop working their Arbonne business, and it's causing all sorts of scarcity within the company.
Absolutely.
And that's not my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That would definitely make a big stir in the industry. What I want to do in our next shift here, kind of late in the year, is I've been back and forth about creating a course and almost automating, because I know at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. We book discovery calls, and then we have our high ticket items and things like that. But getting in and having a course, we thought about automating and really just putting a course together to show people how, with templates and things like that they can build out their own system. But having even like different series and having coaching and having, the mindset training, and even tapping into like the topics and things that you specialize in, there could be something along the lines there of doing some sort of collaboration and putting something like a mastermind together.
Totally.
Of that. So I'd love to just keep in touch with.
Yeah, I would love to keep in touch. And I would also really love to chat with you. I don't know if your podcast is on a network yet, but we really like are looking to expand our roster of shows. And one thing that like Hype U is building out is Hype University, which is a membership platform for like entrepreneurs who are just like the early entrepreneurs who are just like dipping their feet in and like want to coach hop, right? Like really low ticket, kind of like DSGC, a little bit of like direct sales growth community, a little bit, but like not for network marketing specifically, but for entrepreneurship in general. And in there, our hosts of our shows will be able to come on and get like do paid trainings within. And I don't know, I just like have this feeling that like you could really like add a lot of value, but also like it's a cross promotional platform to really grow what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that. I think what we do is complementary to what you do. And I was even going through, I know you have tons of courses and different levels of things, but right down to even the smallest ticket item, I don't think we cross paths in any kind of like conflict of like, oh, she's doing what I'm doing. Like,
no, and we don't have anyone, like we don't have a network marketing, like automation specialist. Like we have leadership coaches. We have me, who's like more into the energetic side. We have like social media branding, but like for content creators. So we have Harley Jordan, who's like, she's all about like the creator economy, right? And then we have a product-based business, and we have some other things, but we're not trying to just accept anyone. We really want people who are like, A, speak to one of our 4 pillars, but B, are different from each other, so we can cross promote and not have it like affect our businesses negatively. Like the whole brand ethos of Hype U is win-win. Like it has to be a win-win for everyone or it won't work. So I'll reach out to your team and maybe we can set up a Zoom on another day and I can just kind of tell you all about Hype U. and you can tell me if it fits into your brand or not. But I think
That would be great.
having you on there and just having your expertise about like just automation and
And really
funnels
talking
and
to that audience, in general, and just having that, obviously what we do can be to, businesses, entrepreneurs, coaches, to anybody, but
yeah.
I can always, tailor it so that it is speaking to a specific audience.
Well, and it's been really hard because we knew we wanted like a network marketing professional in our roster, but it's hard to find someone who's like still in it because
Mhm.
if you're coming to the business for network marketing, you're probably already a part of a company. So unless somebody offers services like you do, it doesn't really benefit them.
Yeah.
It benefits us, but it doesn't benefit them. Where you like,
Yeah.
this absolutely could benefit you because they hear you train on like automation for network marketers. Well, guess what? They're going to go straight to your page and they're going to buy your programs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what I did is I was in the network marketing space. I got my car, my shares and all that stuff, but it just almost felt like a constant conflict of, I'm so heavily in with, with network marketers and working to help them and focus on creating for them. So I made the decision last year to leave that. And I did get a lot of backlash because I left my shares and, and my car and all that stuff, but it was such a weight off my shoulders to say,
Totally.
I am not focused on that business and that industry. I can help and I can serve and I can train and all network marketers on every level, every company. And, but I do have, the experience of, and the expertise of coming from that background. So it just
Totally. Well,
works
that's
well.
what Colleen
Yeah.
did. I mean, look at Colleen. Like, her and I have become good friends. And like when she started No Shame Sales Game, she was still like very much in the industry. And
In the
now she's
industry.
like, I can make a bigger impact by kind of stepping away from the actual business,
Yeah.
but like helping.
Yeah. I love what she does and I love following, and it's just pure value. And yeah. And
She's
that's
amazing.
another, that's another society that I would like to be part of too.
Well, and
So
if you need a connection to her, like, and if you want to interview her on the show or something, like, just
absolutely.
let me
Yeah.
know because her and I know each other really well, and I know that she'd come on your show for sure.
Yeah, that would be great, Danielle. I'll
Okay.
actually, reach out to you on that too,
Yeah.
because it's once, people get to a certain level, it is hard to connect with them. And at that point, you do want to make sure that you're being on a show that's actually going to serve your benefit too. So my
Hmm.
whole audience is her space. So it would just make sense
I
also.
just think, I mean, I don't know. I just think like any exposure and like getting any sort of collaboration is always a good thing, and like there's enough to go around.
Enough to go around. I'm also just big on energy. Like if we align and we can, vibe and have conversation and it just feels right, then the
Yeah.
energy feels right. There's just so much more growth there to happen. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we connected. Yeah,
So
definitely
glad.
reach out. My assistant is Vanessa, so she'll probably respond back to your team and they can work something out, get a call set up with us
Okay, great.
and see.
Did you say you lived in Beverly Hills?
I'm in Orange County. I'm in
Oh,
Irvine. Yeah, but the
where in Orange
company
County are you?
in Irvine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Before we
so
moved, we were in like East Side LA, like near Pasadena.
oh, Pasadena. Yeah. So I think we're like 45 minutes. We have
Yeah.
video editors out in Pasadena. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
we had a house there, and I mean, I grew up in Santa Monica, so
Oh, our favorite place.
so
Even
beautiful.
my
I mean, it's
3-year-old,
changed so
she's like,
much.
let's go to Santa Monica. I'm like, every Saturday, like, you want to just go to Santa Monica? She just wants to go like on the rides, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go to Santa Monica or San Diego because she wants to go to Mission,
Oh,
Mission
yeah. Well, and
Beach.
you're
Yeah.
halfway, so that's nice.
Yeah. We can kind of pick, 1 week, 1 week. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was so good to
So,
talk to you. I'll definitely send you over information about all the things.
yeah, that would be awesome. And once my team does the editing on this, we'll send you information. Maybe get a good headshot of you, whatever picture that you want to use.
Yeah.
And then we also chop it up and we'll create some micro content to put out little teasers. So we can just send it to you. We won't look to like collab or anything like that. I don't want you to feel obligated to have to
Oh no,
do
I
these
would love
things.
to. I would love to share
Okay,
it. And if you send me some clips, I'll link, I have a newsletter every week. So I can link the
perfect.
episode in a newsletter with some clips and stuff.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll do that.
My email list has like thousands of people on it. So that'll be fun.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll do the same thing too. So we'll get exposure on both sides.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thanks, Danielle. Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good
I
day. All right.
appreciate it. You too, hon.
Bye.
Bye.